The Rams suffer another key injury. Also, we have unit by unit grades from week 2 and what we like and what we don't like so far for the Rams 2025 season. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor, trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. So join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you want to support every single episode of Locked On Rams, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. Podcast listeners, write us a review. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. As always, I'm joined by the Rams pre, half, and post-game show host, the Rams flagship radio station, ESPN 710 LA. He's in his 11th season covering your Los Angeles Rams, the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers. You can follow him on X at Travis Rogers. The Rams suffer another key injury. We've got the latest on that. We're also throwing out grades from week 2, things that we like and things that we don't like so far, just 2 weeks in to the Rams 2025 season. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. All right, Travis, so that key injury that we're talking about is not a player, but it is Sean McVay, who revealed that he had a little plantar fasciitis tear and that he's dealing with something. And all I got to say is, hey, man, we need him back for the postseason push. For the playoff push, we need him back. And it's a little concerning, but I hopefully won't impact this team that much. You just feel that he has a speedy recovery.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking about this on my radio show yesterday, and DeMarco Farr, Super Bowl champ, said something I hadn't really thought of because, I was there for jokes like McVay, tearing his plantar fascia, standing there was relatively fun. I've had plantar fasciitis. It hurts like crazy, so I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But DeMarco said something really interesting, which is it oddly enough could have an impact in a way that I hadn't thought of, which is we've seen McVay sprint up and down the sidelines before to get timeouts, to challenge, to do all sorts of things. And now it puts a little bit of a pressure on that offense, on some situational football to be perfect, because he's not going to be able to run down there and get that timeout that he may need in advance. So, it was. I heard him mention it to Maurice Jones-Drew after the game on our postgame show. He obviously is going to be, I don't know if it's a booted thing. I don't know if it's a crutch thing, but he's going to be laid up for a minute.
Yeah. All jokes aside, it is a valid concern when you think about it. I mean, we've seen Sean McVay running up and down the sidelines, whether it be timeouts, whether that be to challenge a play. It'd be interesting to see if there'll be some communication between Sean McVay and the league with the refs before the game. I think you'll see this is a guy who's not a rookie head coach, right? This is someone who has a lot of equity in this league. I think that he might get a little bit of some extra benefits because he's dealing with something. And I think, too, you can possibly get another coach involved maybe to assist you in some capacity. I want to see him in the immortal chamber like today. Like, you know what I mean? Like getting through this, right? Give this guy like a scooter, do something.
Yeah, maybe one of those things like, or the little tricycle that you ride it like a razor scooter situation. But look, here's what's crazy about this, that we know McVay, and we've seen him here in LA. This is his 9th season coaching the team. I wouldn't be even a little surprised if Sean McVay had a contingency plan for this, that in the event that he was somehow physically unable to move in the way that he likes to move, that, okay, activate plantar fascia protocol, right? And now all of a sudden guys are running around doing what they've practiced because he's got this. He's got a plantar fascia protocol. He's got a sprained ankle protocol. He's got a torn ACL for the defensive coordinator protocol. I wouldn't be surprised at all. The guy's on top of just about everything.
Sure. There's no doubt about it. And that's the thing, too. It's like this is like there's something that is light about this, but there's also something that's like, wow, this can take months to heal. You hate the fact that our guy is dealing with anything. And then there's also the silver lining that we know that there's no perfect manager, there's no perfect coach. Everyone has things they want to constantly improve on. And if there has been a little bit of a knock on Sean McVay throughout the years, there have been times where there's been some clock management stuff that you would like to see become a little different, and him using different strategies in those situations. So, hey, whether it be calling timeouts, whether it be play clock management, things like that, this could force him into a situation where he has to do that a little differently, a little more efficiently. So you're wondering for that. By the way, when you see that scooter thing, is that a thing where you're like, man, like it'd be kind of like, is it just a plus of having a torn Achilles? Because it looks really fun. I don't know. Like, is it that fun?
Okay, so my kids are a little bit older than yours, and I've gone through the Razor scooter phase in their life. The Razor scooter is fun for roughly 11 seconds, and then you're like, okay, this sucks. Then I need to get off of this thing. So I would assume that the Achilles scooter is roughly the same experience, which is for 5 minutes, you're like, hey, this is kind of fun. I'm rolling into work, and then it's like, I got this contraption that I got to drag everywhere I go. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to roll in there. I got to go put my pants on. I got to go roll in there. It becomes miserable after about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's wild. By the way, I have one kid, and I haven't revealed her to social media because it's the fame and like Shohei Ohtani. Like I haven't revealed her name or anything like that. So thanks for that. Plus, we haven't been to Maury yet either to even confirm anything. So I mean, no, of course I'm only playing. My wife doesn't watch the show, but yeah, I mean. The truth is that, I mean, with Sean McVay, this is a guy who I think that's the best point I've heard is that he probably has a major plan so that doesn't impact the game at all whatsoever. But having dealt with this, like how uncomfortable is it just like on the day to day?
So mine never tore. I just had plantar fasciitis. So he tore the plantar fascia, which is where that little sheath of muscle or whatever it is on the bottom of your foot just completely comes off, which apparently is the better of the two options because then it heals a little bit quicker and a little bit more effectively. I got a bunch of injections into my foot to try to it sucks. It never really lets go. It's like you've got some, like especially early in the morning when you first get your day started, it's a really, really tough beginning. It's very sore. It's very painful. It does loosen up through the course of the day, but that he tore his is an experience that I never had. So I don't know. And especially with Philadelphia coming up this week, like if they were playing the Tennessee Titans, you'd be like they're going to be fine. You know, he could be sitting in a wheelchair over there and they'll find a way to beat the Titans. But with the Eagles, where every snap, every play, like you mentioned, clock management, do you challenge? Do you not challenge? Do you call a timeout? Do you not call a timeout? All of those little things could be the difference between winning the game or not. That it's Philly that he's got to do this for the first time is an additional challenge.
That's another point. This could be a rallying thing, right? Hashtag McVay strong, right? Win for McVay, right? But that sounds terrible. I'm just going to precautionary mode get the scooter just so I just
have it ready.
Just to have it ready just in case. Okay. I mean, we'll see. But coming up next, we got things that we like and things that we don't like so far. Just 2 weeks into the season, some overreactions. Also throwing out grades for each unit for the Rams week 2 win over the Titans. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
This episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and keep moving the game forward, right? This week's moment to move the game forward is, I want to talk about Matthew Stafford throwing that interception right before the end of the half. It obviously put the Rams in a weird spot. The Titans immediately scored a touchdown and they go into the half behind, but they come out and it ignited them and they are moving forward and they went and they took off in that second half and they won the game because of a potential setback. And then all of a sudden they took care of business. And when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved.
And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you hear podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also want to give a big shout out to those every listeners out there watching, listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, I've seen the numbers, new viewers, new listeners lately. Join the Everyday Listeners Club. That's where you watch or listen to every single episode of Locked On Rams, Monday through Friday. You'll be the most informed Rams fan. You'll listen to the #1 Rams daily podcast, and you always think about your favorite team. All right, Travis, here in our second segment, we're going to do some quick unit grades, starting with the quarterback. I think Matthew Stafford, I give him a B+, just because of the standard that he set. You had that one interception that it wasn't the prettiest interception. I do think it was kind of a little bit of a turning point in that game, because after that, it was complete lock-in. But, man, just kind of rewatching the game, I throw in some rewatches. I do the condensed one, but the one that really, I just love that throw he makes to Davante Adams, and he's the king of the, hey, I'm going to throw it where only my receiver can get it, and the body control of Tay just going down there, flipping it. Man, I'm in that state of, hey, I'm really seeing what this player is capable of because he's on my team type thing, and that's kind of where I'm at with Davante Adams right now.
Yeah, I don't know, if like you buy a new car or something like that, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, it does that? Like you hit a button, it's like, I didn't even know it could do that. Like that's wild. Like, wow, that's really awesome. And then you start hitting the button over and over again. That feels like what Stafford's doing with Davante Adams. Like, wait, he can do that? I can put the ball over there and he'll actually catch it. I can make that decision that I've never been able before. I think you're right. I would give Matthew Stafford, I think, the same grade, unless we're factoring in health as well. And then I want to give him an A quadruple plus, because we're almost to the point, D-Mac, where we're not talking about his back anymore. We're almost to the point where it's just like, okay, he went out there and played really. Now, Philadelphia is a totally different test. It's a totally different defensive front that he's going to have to deal with, a totally different amount of pressure than the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. But I think that he's been really good so far. I'm still, holding my breath a little bit on his health, but I'm cautiously optimistic that we're getting to the point where we don't have to really talk about that anymore, because you're right. Look, they're going to have a really good season if he's healthy. If he's not, all bets are off. Who knows what happens after that? But if he's good, the Rams will be good. And so far, he's been pretty good.
And that's definitely one of the things that we do like, is how his back has responded so far. Matthew Stafford said after the game, my back feels good, made it out of this one clean. Sometimes the scariest part is flying to the East Coast and flying back. You get on an airplane and you get up in an old man, and you feel a little different in a kind of way. But I feel great after 2 games, feeling really solid. Our guys up front are doing a hell of a job of keeping me clean. By the way, just get one of his mattresses on the plane, right? Like, what is it, Sleep Number? I don't even know. But
I think it is a Sleep Number. I think you're right.
Yeah, I've been advertised too. Man, I got brainwashed.
Have him lay down in the bed. Look, I hated what you just told me. That if he's at the stage of his life where a plane flight could send him around the bend, that is terrifying, right? I mean, let's get him on a train, Y.A. Tittle back in the day or whatever, and send him from city to city. Because if a plane flight can really send him in the wrong direction, that's very unsettling. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think he's just being extremely cautious, and I agree. I don't like the old man thing but the good thing is it doesn't look like on the eye test that it's impacting his play. I mean, you're seeing no lookers, you're seeing him move around. So other thing too, I mean, 69.7% completion percentage, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw the 1 interception, and that lone interception was a bad decision. There's no doubt about it. And that's just kind of like part of the Matthew Stafford experience too, right? It's like there will be those throws that he can make that no one else can, but then there'll be some of those inexplicable interceptions. I think the thing with the interceptions are so interesting because they do sometimes look like they're hero ball, but they're also, it's kind of like the gift and the curse with him. Like, he has this superpower of just, hey, I can make any throw. And so he'll attempt it, that one on Sunday was tough to defend, really, but that's, I think, something that you kind of have to just accept with his quarterback play.
Yeah, look, it was a bad decision, and it was a bad throw. It was a twofer. Both of the things that he needed to do were not good on that particular play. But I agree with you, Doug. I think that Rams fans have been around Matthew Stafford long enough to know that this is just part of the experience with him. You're going to take that occasionally, knowing that you're going to get a whole bunch of other really amazing, good plays. It's how he goes. There's a little bit of I think I can do anything like you're talking about. I can fit it in there. I can get it there. I can get it there before the defender can get there. And he's going to push the envelope, and sometimes it's going to fail. And that's okay. I will take him taking some chances every once in a while. To your point, the Matthew Stafford experience includes a couple of bad interceptions now and again. That's just the way that it goes, and I'm okay. I don't like it, but I've come to accept it as part of the of all the good stuff you get with him as well.
Yeah, it's like you'll accept Shohei Ohtani's swing out of his shoes and his helmet popping off because the next at bat's going to be a 120 mile per off the bat home run.
We got to take him out. You can't use him anymore, Doug. He might get hurt in 2031, so we got to make sure that he's protected for that. Never mind that he had a no-hitter and hit his 50th home run. You can't use him anymore. He might get hurt.
I'm not I'm fighting the temptation not to go down this rabbit hole, but no hitters in 2025. What have we become as a society? We came to the ballpark, right, to see a no hitter every now and then.
Nerds.
By the way, I do not. I don't know where you stand on this, but had Robleski came in, I still say the Dodgers' last no hitter was 2014. I do not count team no hitters. They don't mean anything to me. I call them can't hitters. Right,
yep,
their team couldn't hit anyone. So
I'm with you.
That's where I'm at on that. Now, as far as the running backs, this one I kind of was almost thinking C+, but it's early in the season. It's early in a quarter, right? I'm being like the nice teacher right now. And I give it a B-. And Kyren Williams, for most part, was not great during this one. He had a couple of 15-yard runs late in this one. I think this one, the grade comes down to potential. Blake Corum had just 5 carries with 44 yards and a touchdown. You saw what he could be potentially. But Corum and Kyren, they combined for 110 yards on 22 carries. And a lot of those yards came late in this one after it felt like this game was decided. So you want to see a more efficient and more productive run game moving forward, especially from Kyren Williams.
The Rams running game is so strange to me. It's never good, but it's very rarely bad. They don't lean on it all that much. It's not something that they feature in their offense on a regular basis. Occasionally you'll get a game from Kyren where he'll get close to 100 yards. He does get in the end zone, which is always, encouraging, but I think your grade is about right. I think that, I think that's what they're expecting. Sometimes you have certain kids that you expect to get A's on the math test. And you have certain kids that if they come home with a B-, you're like, hey, good job, kid. I'm proud of you. That's, well done. And different strokes for different folks. And I think when it comes to the running backs, being good is very good. And I think that's where they are. I don't think they're ever going to be a team that leans on that position. They haven't had somebody there since Todd Gurley that you're like, okay, this guy may absolutely dominate a game, but it's not what they're asking him to do. What they're asking him to do is, pick up some tough yards, protect Matthew Stafford, and I think they've done that.
I agree. I do think, though, that they are settling for that grade because of the personnel. And I think that moving forward, like I said, we won't spend too much time on this. We talked about a lot this week already. Blake Corum certainly, I think, needs a deeper look and more snaps. And if he makes the most of them, hey, we know that this is an organization that's not afraid to play the hot hand. So I'm really excited. And I think, too, if that means that Blake Corum gets the best out of Kyren Williams, then it's a plus either way you look at it.
I think that's spot on. I saw that on Sunday when Corum had that good series, when Corum got into the end zone and Williams came back into the game a little bit later on. It looked like there was a little extra bounce in his step, and that's nothing but a good thing. Nothing but a good thing. If he feels like he's got somebody, nipping at his heels, that's good for the Rams across the board.
No doubt about it. Now, if they got a B-, then the wide receivers, I don't think I give them an A+ yet. But definitely an A, a very solid A. Puka Nacua looks like he's leveled up where they're playing him more in the slot. You saw him on that big run that led to a touchdown, just making big chunk first down yards. And what I love about Puka, it's not like he has like a ton of wiggle to his game, but he just gets to his spot. He has just this great feel for those in-breaking routes, and he's so big and physical. I love the fact that it does feel like there's just such an excitement level of Devontae to Puka and Puka to Devontae, just because, Devontae's a made man in this league, and Puka, I think, is just so appreciative to play alongside Devontae because I think it's unlocked him to a whole nother level. And then what Devontae brings to this offense, you get another premier guy that can work on the outside, win his one-on-ones. I mean, sometimes I love it's like, football can be super complex, obviously, but for him, it's like, hey, it's man coverage, win your one-on-one, and Stafford will get you the rock. It's like backyard football type stuff, right? And Devontae has the ability to do that, and I just think it's absolutely unlocked this Rams passing game to a whole nother level.
I think so too. I'll use another school analogy here. I think that Davante Adams has gotten probably a B+, and that's just because he hasn't been throwing the ball enough. I think that we're trending towards the right. Puka is an A+ at this point. He's just an absolute battering ram, like you said. He's incredibly technically proficient, but he's just so strong and physical that he can do what he wants. But we're grading this as a group project, and I'm not one of those teachers that's going to let somebody just ride along and get an A with the group and not doing any of the work. Tutu Atwell hasn't been present. So he's going to drag the group grade way down because he's not contributing to it. Jordan Whittington's been pretty good. I know we're not going to throw Davis Allen in there. He's a tight end. He's been pretty good too, but Tutu's been AWOL. He just has not been a part of what they're doing. So that group grade has to come down a little bit because Mr. Atwell has not been contributing to the project.
Yeah, Tutu Atwell's got to be. It's kind of one of those things where like Devontae comes in and he's like the new kid at school, and he's like he does karate. You know what I mean? He's like a black belt. You're like, how do I compete with that? You know what I mean? He like wears like a leather jacket, and he's got like shades, and like all the girls are around him. You're just like, dude, it's over for me, man. It's like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I feel like Devontae Adams. He's just so cool. And I mean, this has been one of the most efficient offenses in the league so far. Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua are right at the top of the league when it comes to yards run per route. And that's kind of the number one stat I'm looking at as far as unlocking these guys is the depth of target for them is extremely different now with Cooper Kupp not around.
No doubt. No, Devontae has been a revelation. And Doug, you tell me what you think. It feels like we're just getting started. It feels like we are just barely scratching the surface of what he's capable of. The timing between him and Stafford still feels like it's off by just a teeny tiny little bit. And once they get that thing squared away, I think you're going to see some really dynamic, serious, mind-blowing events from Davante Adams. He's still that guy. From the limited time that we've got to see him in the first two games, it still feels like he's an incredibly special player.
I totally agree. And just what makes it so valuable too is that with Puka, you have the guy that's the ultimate zone beater, right? He can find a way to manipulate zones, and then Devontae manipulates man coverage. So you get those two elements, and I think it's incredible. You mentioned Davis Allen throwing a quick grade for the tight ends group, and I think if we're going to do a list of early surprises, I'm sure we'll throw an episode in about that pretty soon. He's one of the early surprises. I mean, Tyler Higbee did catch his first pass of the season, had 4 catches for 37 yards, had a nice little 20-yard catch. But Davis Allen, like we talked about yesterday, all he does is catch touchdowns, made 1 catch, and it was for a touchdown. Nice big target. I give the tight ends group a B+.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that, Allen has certainly kicked that grade up. Higbee's been okay. Parkinson drags it down a little bit with the fumble that he has. And, Terrence Ferguson kind of gets an incomplete. He just hasn't played, which I guess is probably not great because, if he were really up to speed, I think we would have seen him a little bit. So hopefully he's able to integrate himself into that offense. But, I might give it slightly lower just because that one turnover did nearly, swing that Houston Texans game in a different direction. But Allen's been really good, so I think he saves the group project.
Absolutely. But coming up next, we've got some good and some bad grades. That's going up next on Locked On Rams.
NFL season is here, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets, that could be a drag. It could be a hassle. You're talking queues, login screens, prices jumping at checkout. It's incredibly frustrating. That's why I like to use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, it's easy, and it's backed by the Gametime guarantee, meaning you're always going to get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. You can open up Gametime, and in just a couple of taps, you're going to see some amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL team as low as about $100. And the app makes it super simple. You can see the exact view from your seat before buying. Honestly, it's faster and cheaper and less stressful than any other way that I've ever bought tickets. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL, LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Also, fans, the NFL season is cranked up, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer, because right now, new customers, welcome in. You just bet $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And FanDuel is great because it fits however you like to bet, right? Do you like player props? FanDuel's got player props. Do you like building a same-game parlay? FanDuel has same-game parlays. Do you like jumping in live as the action unfolds, right? Live action betting in the middle of it. FanDuel's got that for you too. It makes every game more exciting. So whether you're watching your team or keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup, FanDuel has you covered. It's quick, it's easy, and it is the best way to add just that little extra something to Sundays. So let me ask you, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Okay, so I would say the worst performing group as far as grades would be the offensive line. I think for the O-line, you go C, maybe C minus, just the run game wasn't there. You didn't let Jeffrey Simmons blow up the game like he did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a plus. But if you just rewatch the game, they were kind of waiting the line of scrimmage throughout that one. And the bottom line is for this team to truly get to the level where they want to, you just need a better performance from the offensive line moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a little better. I will give them a little grace because they had some injuries early on. That's life in the NFL. You're going to have some guys that step in. I know that Justin Didich come in and play reasonably well, but you're already a little shorthanded early in the season. We'll see how that shakes out. But I agree with you. It's been okay. It hasn't been a fatal flaw of this team, but I'm with you, D-Mac. I'd like to see it be a little more consistent as well.
Definitely need that group to improve. But outside of that, really, I mean, it was just a solid performance across the board for this team. It really was. I mean, the offensive line, I think maybe was the weak spot. Defensive line, I think you give a solid B. Yep. Inside linebacker, B. Outside linebacker, I think definitely gets an A. Josiah Stewart actually had a pretty big impact, 3 pressures in his first sack. Cornerback play, I think you got to give B+. Safety play, a much better bounce back game for Quentin Lake, a B+, got 89.3 PFF grade. And special teams, they got to go B+. The only thing they did wrong was you had a PAT block, but it was a good job by Terrence Ferguson to chase down the Titans player to stop the 2 points. So overall, I mean, it was a good week for the Rams for sure.
I think so too. And the special teams, you mentioned the block. That's obviously a low water mark, but Josh Carty's made his kicks. That's always one of the things that I'm preoccupied with. Are you making the kicks you're supposed to make? And so far he has. That's a good sign.
No doubt about it. Yeah. But if this was for grades next week, you got a big test. You got the first kind of like midterm, even though it's only week 3. Big test next week against Philly. Against the Eagles, not the Phillies that are destroying the Dodgers right now, but the Eagles. And I can't wait to see Sean McVay with his cool limp. Like he's going to look super cool with that limp. That's going to be awesome. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. You can follow the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, at Travis Rogers. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.